Hi, it's Erin from SCN again, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about Canva. So in this tutorial, one of the second things I offered up in my intro video was about how to create a quick little flyer for something like new bus rules or parent-teacher conferences. So again, you're going to start by logging into Canva, and then again at the top of my page, there's a wealth of different templates. And for this one, I am going to go over to the document template. So I'm going to launch that. And again, at this point, you have two options. I could use one of their pre-made templates, which you can see there are tons and tons and tons of them. And they are creating more and more every week, it seems. Or my other option would be to just start from scratch and add some pieces. But again, today, to keep it simple and keep it efficient, I'm going to choose one of their templates. So if you scroll down, like I said before, you'll find lots of different options. Another thing to note, I mentioned this in the first tutorial, wherever you see this Canva watermark, kind of like you can see right here, that means that element is going to cost you $1 unless you replace it with your own picture. So for this example, let's pretend that we have parent-teacher conferences coming up and we want people to attend them. So I think one of the best things to do is to really invite people to parent-teacher conferences in a way that looks sleek and professional. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one, which is your event. It's kind of like an invitation format. And before I go on, I'm going to go up and click on Untitled Design and just call this Parent-Teacher Conference Flyer. There we go. All right. So I'm going to start by just changing my text. Let's start with this one to say parent teacher. All right. And we'll notice that that's a little bit too big. So nope, that's not going to do it. Let's try taking it all the way down to 48 and see if we can get it to fit on that line. Maybe stretch it out. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I have it centered by going to this down arrow and hitting center. And then I'm going to move out of it and center the text box itself. Again, you see that dotted line that pops up for me. So parent, teacher, and then let's change this to conferences. All right. So I have the beginning part up here. Now, depending on what you want people to know, you can add a lot of different things here. Maybe you want people to sign up through your website. So let's say sign up at scn4u.com. Okay. And you'll notice that my text box just kind of stretches out a little bit, which is perfect. That looks great. And hopefully your parent-teacher conferences don't cost anything. So if this is an element I really don't need, all I have to do is click on the trash can icon and it gets deleted. Okay, now the big thing is, how do I kind of fill this space? So let's first change it. Let's say our parent-teacher conferences are Tuesday the 9th of October. Okay, and I'm going to have to stretch this text box out a little bit to get that all in one line. There we go. Okay. And let's say they are from 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Now, if you're like most schools, I'm guessing that your parent-teacher conferences happen at your schools, and hopefully most teachers or most parents know where those are at. So this address box here might not be something that I really want to keep. So I'm going to go ahead and click delete on that as well. Okay, so now I have my generic information, but the spacing is a little funky, a little awkward. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of play around with things a little bit here. Maybe move my 9 over a little bit. I can take this little bar and stretch that out a little bit too. Let's make sure it's still, there we go, that's telling me it's nice and centered. And then maybe I want to move these times down here and even make them a little bigger so that parents know here are the times that you can sign up from. The other thing I'm going to do is actually center them and see how that works for me. So centered there, perfect. All right. So in about 5 minutes, I've just created a great graphic about parent-teacher conferences that's easy to read. Parents get the information they need quickly without having to read through a whole paragraph, and it's all right here. This would be a great thing to share via Twitter or Facebook, especially if your school uses either of those to communicate with parents. But I can also choose link and publish. And if I do that, I get 3 options. This first is just a link. So if you send out a digital newsletter where you could include a hyperlink and you didn't want to actually put this image in, you could link it that way. Or if you wanted somebody to proof it and make sure it looked great, you could do it that way as well. You could create an image that's great for adding it to a website. Or you could create a PDF, which is great for printing. So this time I'm going to choose the PDF. The other reason I really like PDFs is that they work really well regardless of the device that you're on. So if I'm on my iPhone and I open a PDF, I can still see it just like anybody else can on a computer. All right, so here we go. Parent-teacher conferences, sign up at scnforyou.com. All the info I need, a nice clean look. Parents hopefully will be signing up for your parent-teacher conferences. That's all I have for you today, but make sure you tune in next week for a little bit more information about how to use Canva and a few other tips and tricks I have up my sleeve. Thanks.